Hello and welcome to In Stitches. This machine here is a Bernina 1090 here, and it's got this reasonably common issue where the needle bar doesn't drive. You'll see that we're in straight stitch mode. I've just turned the machine on and it should be driving the needle bar here, but it's not. You'll see the take up lever going up and down, and it's a reasonably common fault, and in fact I've already done a video on this quite a while ago now. But there's a couple of things I wanted to redo. Now this releasing mechanism is by design. It's for use with the basting stitch. So if we flick on the basting stitch here, the needle bar will disengage for a number of stitches and then re-engage to do one like tacking stitch. Okay, so by design that is available. But you can see that I've got it turned off and it's still not engaging here. So this covers quite a few different models, not just the 1090 here, the 1130, 1230, I'm sure there are other models as well that have this ability. So pretty much if your machine's got the ability to do a basting stitch and it looks similar to this one here, this kind of shape here, this video will pertain to your machine if that's the case. The original video I did, I wasn't 100% happy with. There's a couple of reasons. One is that you can, if you want to, you can actually get in through the slot on the front of the machine here, which I did explain in the other video, but not until the end. And get a little bit of lubricant and target it onto the appropriate part there to free the part up. And then, so you've got a fixed machine without having to take all the back panels off and get in from behind. The reason I showed getting in from behind here, taking these panels, all these panels off and things like that, was because I normally do that as part of the service anyway. So, it was a matter of course that I do that. But if you're just after a quick fix, you can just come in through the slot on the front there. I'll show you that in a second in more detail. And the other thing I didn't have right was in behind this plastic panel here, there's an aluminium plate, and that's called the rigidity plate. And when you go to do the screws up on that rigidity plate, there is a special sequence, and I didn't realize it at the time that you had to tighten them in a special sequence. And it was pointed out in a comment that I'm obviously not Bernina trained. And that's correct, I'm not Bernina trained. I have all the service manuals, but it doesn't actually go through, not that I can see in the service manual, the sequence of tightening the rigidity plate screws. So I wanted to go through that in more detail, just in case you can't fix this from coming in from the front here. And if you do have to take the back panel off, at least you'll know how to do that rigidity plate up. So the tricky part here is going to be whether I can get you a good view into this slot here. Now I've got you in pretty much as close as I can get it. I've got a light here that I just have to manually hold there so that I can get the light to go down the slit here. But anyway, I'll try and get this best I can. This little black part here that you can see, this part here, there's a spring there, I'll just move that out of the way. This here you can see moving, that can get seized up. So there's a hinge down here where I'm pointing with the tweezers there. There's a hinge down there that can seize. So the key is to target some lubricant onto that. But you can see it moving up and down. So this is the needle bar drive mechanism, right? And at the moment it's not latched onto the needle bar, and that's why the needle bar is not going up and down it should go up and down with this. And the latch is this little lever here. This lever here that I showed you before. Now you can see that if I force it, you don't want to force it too much because that's plastic, and you can break it, but you can see that it's actually sloped forward slightly there. Yeah, so you can see that comes forward there, but it doesn't stay there. I can move it back but it's quite tight to move there with the tweezers. So what I want to do is target some penetrating oil down onto this hinge here and work it back and forward, see if we can get that to free up. Now as I say, we need to target the penetrating oil. I've got CRC here. You could use WD-40, something like that. And I've got a little spray nozzle there that I'm going to get down and target onto that hinge there. And yeah, this needs to be reasonably well targeted. You don't want to be spraying penetrating oil through your machine. And that's why, this is just really a quick fix. It's probably not the best way of doing it, but it is a quick way of doing it without too much hassle. I would recommend taking the back panels off and coming in from behind. So, but if you want to just quickly get it done, you can do it this way. So I'll just target a spray onto that hinge down there. Sorry, just trying to get my lamp. Just like that there. That should be enough. And then we can work away at this latch here, just with a pair of tweezers or something like that. My camera is actually in the way a little bit, so I'm making this look a lot more awkward than it should be. But that can come forward there, and we should be able to just move that back and forward to try and work that lubricant in there. And once this is freed up, we should follow it up with a drop of oil as well, because we don't want to rely on the penetrating oil as a lubricant, full-time lubricant. It's really just to free this mechanism. And you can see now that it's starting to flick forward by itself now, like that. And now this mechanism should run as it is designed. It's just jamming a little bit if I force it right back there. Just need to get that lubricant worked in there. See it flicking forward there now. So that's freeing up there now nicely. That's how it should work. And it shouldn't jam to the back. Right, so that's good. And as I say, I'll just follow that up with a drop of oil there on the hinge. Okay, see that's springing back there nicely now. Okay, so let's go ahead and test that now. Okay, so we're now set to straight stitch and no basting. The basting light's not on there, so we should be all set to go. And there you go, straight off the bat, driving the needle bar nicely there now. If I select the basting mode here, we should see that working now. There we go, working perfectly. So how many stitches? 1, 2. So you can see there that you get, I think it's 2 stitches, and then without being sewn, so 2 feeds, then 1 stitch. I'll try and get you in closer here too to see if we can see that mechanism working now. So you can see the latch there moving up and down. The needle bar is being driven at the moment. I'll try and show you how it looks when the latch is there. It just disengaged there. You can see this piece here is actually part of the needle bar drive. So when the needle bar has been driven, you won't see that when the needle bar drops down, but you can see it now even though the latch is moving down. It will come up and it will see it's latched again there now. It's pulled that whole mechanism down. It's the needle bar, and it's unlatched again. Latched, unlatched. So it's doing every second stitch, is it? Have a look at that. And if I go back to standard straight stitch, I'll take the basting function off here now. And now that's driving normally every stitch. I'll turn the basting back on now. Off. On. Yeah, quite a clever mechanism. So that's that problem fixed. You know, nice and easily without having to take any screws out of the machine, no panels off the back or anything like that. All you need really is a pair of tweezers, a good light, you know, get a nice good torch or something like that to get down and take a good look in there. Some penetrating oil and some standard sewing machine oils, all you need to fix this issue. So in the next video, I'll show you the more long-winded way of getting into the rear, via the rear of the machine. We take the side panel off the hand wheel, this rear plastic panel here, and the rigidity plate, so we can get a good view coming in from behind here. And that's quite handy to do anyway, because I mean, if you're going to be in there, you can lubricate that area. You can, it's a bit easier to get in to the area with your lubricants and things like that to free up the little latch there. Yeah, and I'll also show you how to correctly tighten the rigidity plate on the back here. There's a special sequence for the screw tightening, as I explained before. Thank you very much for watching. As always, thank you very much to my patrons on Patreon. And yeah, keep an eye out for the next video. Thanks a lot.